Hello and welcome back to the Detox Health Channel.
Great to be back.
And a big hello and really warm welcome to all our new subscribers. We're so glad you decided to join us.
Yeah, welcome aboard, everyone.
You know, we put together these deep dives because, well, let's face it, wading through tons of articles and websites takes time.
A lot of time.
Exactly. So we try to do the heavy lifting, pull out the core stuff you need to know about important health topics.
Distill it down, make it accessible.
Precisely. And if you find this useful, please do give that like button a quick click. It genuinely helps the channel out.
It really does.
Okay, so today we're plunging into something you might, have lurking in your fridge right now, sauerkraut.
Ah, yes. Good old sauerkraut.
You've probably seen it, maybe on a Reuben, maybe on a hot dog.
Classic pairing.
But believe it or not, there's quite a story behind this fermented cabbage when it comes to health.
There really is. It
Yeah.
goes way beyond just being a tangy topping.
So, our mission today, to uncover the most important, maybe even surprising health benefits it offers. We're drawing on info from Medical News Today and WebMD.
Good sources, solid information there.
We want to know, can this simple, kind of ancient food actually offer, well, a surprising range of benefits in our modern world? Let's find out.
Let's dive in. So, looking beyond the condiment aspect, right? Understanding the deeper impact.
Exactly. Okay, sauerkraut. Basics first. It's fermented cabbage. Simple as that.
Yep. The name even tells you German for sour cabbage or sour vegetable.
That sour taste is key, though, isn't it? It's the fermentation.
It absolutely is. That fermentation process is, well, it's crucial. It preserves the cabbage, sure, but it also seems to unlock these unique health benefits we're going to talk about.
Right. And one of the first things that always pops up with sauerkraut is gut health. Everyone's talking about the gut microbiome lately.
And for good reason. Sauerkraut seems to be a real player in that field. There's a natural source of lactic acid bacteria.
Lactic acid bacteria, okay.
And these aren't just any bacteria. The thinking is they may directly impact health, maybe supporting the immune system, possibly helping reduce inflammation.
Like beneficial little helpers moving into your gut.
Kind of, yeah. Helping maintain order, you could say.
And there's actual research. I saw something about an IBS study.
Yes, a 2018 clinical trial. They looked at people with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and they tested both pasteurized sauerkraut, the shelf-stable kind, and unpasteurized, the refrigerated stuff.
Okay, and what did they find?
Well, interestingly, both types actually led to participants reporting fewer IBS symptoms.
Oh, that's good news either way, then.
It is a definite benefit for IBS sufferers.
Mhm.
But here's the really interesting part.
Uh-huh.
Only the group eating the unpasteurized sauerkraut showed significant changes in their gut microbiota. You know, that whole ecosystem of microbes in the gut.
Okay, wait. So both help symptoms, but only one changed the actual bacteria. How does that work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? One theory, mentioned in the Medical News Today source, is that maybe the prebiotics in the cabbage itself are doing some of the work.
Prebiotics. That's the food for the bacteria already there, right?
Exactly. So maybe the cabbage fiber and compounds are feeding the existing good guys, providing benefits that way, even without adding live new bacteria from pasteurized kraut.
So it could be a double whammy. Prebiotics from the cabbage plus actual live bacteria if it's unpasteurized.
That seems to be the idea. And it lines up with other research, like a 2021 review suggesting fermented foods, sauerkraut included, tend to promote more diversity in gut bacteria.
And diversity is generally seen as a good thing for gut health.
Generally, yes. A more diverse ecosystem is often seen as more resilient, better protected against inflammation.
Right. And I think one source mentioned something about nitric oxide in animal studies.
Yeah, some animal research hinted that sauerkraut's anti-inflammatory effect might involve reducing nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is involved in inflammatory pathways, so the sauerkraut might be sort of calming things down.
Sending a chill out signal, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so beyond just general anti-inflammation, are there specific things in the sauerkraut doing the work?
Well, the sources point to a few potential contributors. You've got vitamins we know, like vitamin E and vitamin C.
Standard antioxidants.
Right. But then also some more complex plant compounds, things like allyl isothiocyanate and indole 3-carbinol.
Okay, those are mouthfuls.
They are. But the point is, researchers think these compounds actively help reduce inflammation at a cellular level. It's not just one thing.
It's like a whole team effort inside the cabbage.
Pretty much. A team effort potentially boosted by the fermentation process itself.
Which then logically links to immunity, I guess.
Exactly. The idea is that these microbes and compounds in sauerkraut can kind of activate different parts of our immune system.
Not just fighting germs, but maybe regulating the whole system.
Yeah, helping it respond appropriately. And again, fermentation might enhance this effect, sort of unlocking the cabbage's immune-supporting potential.
Unlocking hidden powers. I like it. What about antioxidants? We mentioned C and E.
Definitely a good source of those. But there's another interesting plant compound highlighted, kaempferol.
Kaempferol. Okay, what's its superpower?
Well, in lab studies, it looks pretty good at protecting against oxidative damage. It seems to neutralize free radicals.
Those are the unstable molecules that cause damage and inflammation.
Those are the ones, so kaempferol acts like a little cleanup crew, basically.
Pretty impressive for fermented cabbage. And speaking of impressive, there was also some mention of potential anti-cancer properties. Sounds serious.
It is, and this is definitely early days research-wise. We need to stress that.
Right, preliminary findings.
But what's intriguing is that certain lactic acid bacteria in sauerkraut can produce something called conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA.
CLA. Heard of that. What's the link?
Well, some animal studies have suggested CLA might help protect against cancer and also against atherosclerosis, that hardening of the arteries.
So potential benefits in two major areas, but in animals so far.
Correct. And then there was that specific human study, the 2021 case control one, Polish women in the U.S.
Yeah, I remember reading that. It seemed quite specific.
It was, but they found an association, and association is the key word here.
Not cause and effect. Got it.
Right. An association between a higher intake of raw cabbage and sauerkraut, particularly during younger years and adulthood, and a significantly lower risk of breast cancer.
Wow. That's
Exactly.
significant, even if it's just an association for now.
It definitely warrants more research, doesn't it? Adds another layer to the potential benefit.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift slightly. Digestion. We know gut health is linked, but WebMD specifically calls it a digestive aid. Why?
Two main reasons, really. Fiber is one. A half-cup serving has about 2 grams of fiber.
And fiber, we know, keeps things moving.
It does. Helps with constipation by adding bulk, softening things up. But it can also help with diarrhea by absorbing excess water. It's a bit of a regulator.
So it works both ways.
Kind of balances things out. And the second reason is, of course, the probiotics if it's unpasteurized. WebMD emphasizes that combo fiber plus probiotics makes it an excellent food to aid with digestion.
So fiber sets the stage, and probiotics help the overall gut environment.
That's a good way to put it. Working together.
Now, what about weight? Well, a lot of people are interested in foods that might help with weight management.
Well, sauerkraut has a couple of things going for it there. First, it's really low in calories, only about 16 per half cup.
That's very low.
And second, as we just said, it's got that fiber. Fiber helps you feel full, promotes satiety.
Which can mean you eat less overall, potentially.
Exactly. Makes sense. Now, there have also been some very preliminary studies suggesting probiotics might decrease fat absorption.
Ooh, interesting.
And this is but WebMD is quick to point out this hasn't really been shown reliably in humans yet.
Okay, so potential, but don't bank on it as a magic weight loss food.
Precisely. It could be a helpful part of a balanced diet because it's low-cal and high fiber, but the fat absorption thing is still speculative in people.
Understood. Supportive, not magic. Got it. What about just general nutrients? Vitamins, minerals?
Yeah, it's not just about the gut stuff. WebMD lists several key nutrients: vitamin C, vitamin K1, iron, folate, manganese, copper, potassium.
So a decent little nutritional package on top of everything else.
Definitely a multitasker. You're getting a fair bit of goodness there.
Okay, but nothing's perfect.
Right.
We need to talk about downsides or things to watch out for. Is sauerkraut generally safe?
Generally, yes, but there are a few important considerations. One is histamine intolerance.
Histamine, like in allergies.
Exactly. Sauerkraut is quite high in histamines because of the fermentation. So for people sensitive to histamines, it can actually trigger allergy-like symptoms. Might even make hay fever worse for some people.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good to know, especially during allergy season.
Definitely. Another thing is potential interactions with certain old-school antidepressants.
Which ones?
Monoamine oxidase inhibitors, MAOIs. If someone's taking those, Medical News Today advises checking with their doctor before eating a lot of sauerkraut. Better safe than sorry with medication interactions.
Absolutely. Always check with your doctor. What about common stuff like gas?
Ah, yes. Gas and bloating can definitely happen, especially when you first start eating it or increase the amount. That's pretty common as your gut adjusts to fermented foods.
Your microbes getting used to the new arrivals.
Pretty much. And the big one, sodium, salt content.
Right. It's made with salt. How much are we talking?
WebMD flags about 219 milligrams of sodium per half cup. That's roughly 9% of your recommended daily intake.
That's not insignificant,
Hmm?
especially if you eat a lot of it.
Exactly. And since high sodium intake is linked to risks like heart disease, stroke, kidney problems, moderation is really key here.
Okay, so lots of potential good, but watch the sodium, beware of histamine, check meds if needed, and expect maybe some initial digestive adjustments.
That's a good summary.
So if someone is keen to try it, how much should they aim for? And how to start?
Well, that 2018 IBS study used 75 grams a day, which is about a third of a cup. That could be a target for potential benefits.
But maybe don't jump straight to that amount.
Probably not.
Hmm.
The advice is usually to start small, maybe just a tablespoon a day, see how you feel, then gradually increase if you want to. Let your system adapt.
Makes sense. And remind us again about the pasteurized versus unpasteurized difference. Which one for which benefit?
Okay, so pasteurized, shelf-stable, heat-treated kills the live bacteria. You might still get some prebiotic benefits from the cabbage fiber itself,
Okay.
but if you want the probiotics, the live beneficial bacteria, you need unpasteurized. That's the stuff usually found in the refrigerated section.
Got it. Refrigerated equals live cultures.
Generally, yes. Or if you make it yourself, of course.
Ah, homemade.
Yeah.
Is that hard to do?
Actually, it sounds pretty straightforward based on the Medical News Today description. Shred cabbage adds salt about 1.5 teaspoons per pound. Massage it until it gets juicy. Pack it tightly into a clean jar. Make sure the liquid covers the cabbage. Seal it up and let it ferment at room temp for, say, 3 to 7 days.
And you have to burp it.
Yeah, if you're using a regular jar, you need to let the fermentation gases out daily so it doesn't build up too much pressure.
Sounds doable.
Yeah.
And then you definitely know you've got live cultures.
Exactly. Plus, no additives you didn't put in yourself.
Well, this has been really fascinating. But as we covered, generally safe, but be mindful of histamines, sodium, potential interactions, and maybe start slow.
Right. And choose unpasteurized or homemade if those live probiotics are what you're after.
Listen to your body, basically.
Always good advice, especially with fermented foods.
So thinking about this connection, between our gut and just everything else, our overall health, it really makes you wonder, doesn't
No
it?
matter what.
Like, what other traditional fermented foods might be out there just waiting for us to rediscover their benefits? Kimchi, kefir, kombucha, maybe others we don't even commonly talk about.
That is a really interesting thought to end on. What other hidden gems are there in traditional food wisdom?
Definitely something to mull over. Okay, on that note, a huge thank you for joining us for this deep dive into sauerkraut here on the Detox Health Channel.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
If you found this useful or interesting, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We'll keep digging into health topics to bring you these kinds of insights.
We try.
Until the next deep dive, please take good care of yourselves.